Scorpio, stop scrolling for one breath and listen with the part of you that never lies, because this isn't the kind of message you find. It's the kind that finds you when the universe decides you've delayed long enough. And if you feel that strange tightening in your chest right now, that quiet hum under your thoughts, that little flicker of yes that arrives before your mind can argue with it, that's the signal. Something is building toward December 23rd, not like a cute date on a calendar, but like a pressure system in the sky, subtle, invisible, and then suddenly undeniable. You've been catching the signs in ordinary places, haven't you? Repeating numbers that follow you like footsteps, a song lyric that lands too perfectly, a name you haven't thought about in years popping up twice in one day, a dream that feels like it has weight. Even the silence has been louder lately. Scorpio, the signs won't stop because they're not trying to entertain you. They're trying to position you. Now hear me, this is not meant to scare you. You don't scare easily anyway. You've lived through enough dark seasons to recognize the difference between fear and anticipation. What you've been feeling isn't doom, it's momentum. It's your timeline shifting gears. The reason this message is repeating is because you are the kind of soul that can ignore a whisper until it has to become thunder. And the universe, whatever name you give it, God, Source, Spirit, the sacred order behind the chaos, has been patient with you. But patience doesn't mean infinite. Sometimes the cosmos repeats itself the way a lighthouse repeats its beam, not because you're failing, but because you're nearing the rocks and you need the light to hit your eyes one more time. December 21st sets something powerful in motion for you, Scorpio. Not because the day itself is magical by default, but because you are approaching a personal alignment, an inner readiness, meeting an outer opportunity. Think of it like a door that only appears when you stop pretending you don't see it. The blessing isn't just money or love or luck. The blessing is movement. It's stuck energy breaking. It's a chapter turning without you having to force it. It's the kind of shift where you look back a week later and realize the universe was rearranging furniture in your life while you were asleep, quietly making room for what you asked for when you were crying in the dark. And yes, I said asked for, because Scorpio, you have been asking. Maybe you did it out loud in prayer, maybe you did it in a journal, maybe you did it in that private place inside you where you don't even use words, just longing. You've asked for relief, for clarity, for a win that doesn't come with a hidden knife, for protection from people who smile while they drain you, for a door that doesn't require you to shrink your soul to fit through it. And the universe heard you. The reason this message is repeating is because the answer is near enough now that you can feel the heat of it, and the closer it gets, the more your old patterns panic. That's what happens right before a breakthrough. Your past tries to call you back with familiar voices. So let's talk about the 3 ways the signs usually intensify right before a Scorpio blessing moves into reality. First, interruption. The universe interrupts your routine. Plans change. A meeting gets moved. A delay appears that seems annoying, but later you realize it kept you from the wrong place at the wrong time. So let's talk about the 3 ways the signs usually intensify right before a Scorpio blessing moves into reality. First, interruption. The universe interrupts your routine. Plans change. A meeting gets moved. A delay appears that seems annoying, but later you realize it kept you from the wrong place at the wrong time. You might get a sudden urge to stay home, to take a different route, to not answer a call, to wait 5 minutes before making a decision. Scorpio, your intuition isn't random. It's an instrument, And right now, it's being tuned. Second, exposure. Something hidden becomes obvious. Not always dramatically, not always with fireworks. Sometimes it's a sentence you finally hear clearly for the first time. Sometimes it's the way someone reacts when you set a boundary. Sometimes it's how your body feels around a certain person, tight, heavy, restless, like your spirit is tapping you on the shoulder saying, "That one, that's the leak." Exposure is a blessing disguised as discomfort. It's the universe removing fog so you stop walking into the same walls. Third, acceleration. You start seeing quick results from small actions. You send one email and get a surprising reply. You make one choice and a chain reaction begins. You speak one truth and suddenly your entire week reorganizes itself. This is what December 21st energy feels like, a gentle but unstoppable push forward. The kind of push that doesn't ask permission, the kind that arrives after you've done enough inner work to handle what you said you wanted. Now I need you to hear this like a sacred instruction, not a dramatic slogan. What you do between now and December 21st matters, not because you'll ruin your destiny if you blink wrong, but because you're being invited into alignment. There's a difference. Fear says, if you mess up, you lose everything. Alignment says, if you listen, you receive more cleanly. And Scorpio, clean reception is your theme right now. Not chasing, not begging, not proving, receiving without sabotage, without guilt, without letting the wrong hands touch what was meant for you. Let's get specific. The repeating signs are trying to steer you away from three traps that usually show up right before your blessing arrives. Trap 1. Emotional spirals from the past, old conversations looping in your head, imaginary arguments, regret disguised as reflection, nostalgia that quietly poisons your present. Scorpio, you can time travel emotionally like it's a superpower, but right now it's a distraction. The past is not your home, it's your teacher. Take the lesson. Leave the classroom. Trap 2. Energy debt. This is when you keep paying attention to people who don't pay you back with respect, kindness, or truth. The ones who treat your empathy like a free subscription. The ones who only appear when they need something and vanish when you need support. The signs repeating are not just spiritual, they're practical. They're telling you, stop leaking energy. Stop explaining yourself to people who enjoy misunderstanding you. Stop handing access to your heart like it's a public park with no gates. Your gates are sacred, your peace is expensive, and your next season requires full power. Trap 3. Control disguised as caution. Scorpio, you are strategic. You are wise. You know how to read a room like a book. But sometimes your strategy becomes a cage. You delay, you analyze, you wait for the perfect moment, and you call it maturity, when really it's fear of being disappointed again. The repeating signs are a loving shove. The moment won't become perfect. You become ready. That's the difference. So what does ready look like before December 24? It looks like clearing your atmosphere. Not dramatically, not superstitiously, intentionally. Clean your space, yes, but also clean your inputs, your feed, your conversations, the late-night content that leaves you anxious, the people who leave you drained, the habit of listening to everyone else's opinion until you can't hear your own inner voice. Create silence on purpose. Silence isn't emptiness for you, Scorpio. It's signal. It also looks like clarifying your intention. Ask yourself one honest question. What do I actually want and why? Not what would impress people, not what would make your enemies sorry, not what would prove your worth. What do you want that would make your soul feel steady? What do you want that would bring peace, not just power? Because here's the cosmic truth. The universe responds differently to different motives. When you want something to heal, it arrives clean. When you want something to punish, it arrives messy. And you're done with messy. Your spirit is done with messy. Then it looks like strengthening your discernment, not paranoia. Discernment, there's a difference. Paranoia says everyone is against you. Discernment says, I notice patterns and I choose wisely. Scorpio, you don't need to accuse anyone. You don't need dramatic confrontations. Your new power is quiet. It's the power to step back, to stop reacting, to stop sharing plans with people who can't celebrate you without envy hiding behind their smile. Keep some things sacred until they're solid. Because yes, there may be someone around you who feels uncomfortable with your rise. Not because they're evil, not because they want you destroyed, but because your transformation forces them to face their stagnation. Your glow becomes a mirror, and mirrors make insecure people either grow or throw stones. Pay attention to who becomes strange when you get hopeful. Pay attention to who suddenly needs you more the moment you start building momentum. Pay attention to who jokes about your dreams, or warns you to be realistic, or drains your excitement with 1,000 little doubts. Scorpio, that is not support, that is gravity, and your season is about lift. December 24. Energy can arrive through an opportunity, a message, a decision, a meeting, a sudden opening where a door used to be a wall. It can also arrive as a release, the sudden ability to let go of something that's been clinging to you. Sometimes the blessing isn't gaining, sometimes it's finally dropping the weight. And for Scorpio, release is often the biggest miracle, because you hold on with loyalty, with memory, with intensity. But the universe is asking you to travel lighter now, not because your love was wrong, because your next chapter requires speed. So here's a ritual that doesn't require candles, doesn't require perfect moonlight, doesn't require you to pretend you're someone you're not. It requires honesty. Tonight, or tomorrow morning, or whenever you're alone, say this out loud. I am willing to be guided. Then watch what happens over the next days. Guidance doesn't always feel like comfort at first. Sometimes it feels like disruption. Sometimes it feels like a sudden no. Sometimes it feels like a door closing sharply. Let it. A slammed door is often protection with a loud voice. And Scorpio, when the signs repeat, your job is not to obsess over them. Your job is to respond with small, grounded actions. Drink water, sleep, clean one corner of your space, unfollow what drains you, say no to one thing that costs you peace, send one message you've been delaying, apply for the thing, save the money, write the plan, make the call. The universe meets motion with motion. Your destiny isn't asking you to sprint, it's asking you to step. Because the truth is, you're closer than you think. That's why this feels urgent. When something is far away, it doesn't create pressure. When it's near, your nervous system feels it. Your dreams intensify. Your emotions fluctuate. Old wounds flare up like they want a final word. That's normal. That's the border between chapters. Your spirit is packing its bags and your past is trying to convince you to stay. December 21 sets a blessing in motion because it marks a moment of decision for you, internally. A moment where you stop negotiating with the part of you that knows better. You know what you need to release. You know what you need to stop entertaining. You know which pattern keeps repeating. The signs won't stop because you keep trying to intellectualize what your soul already understands. Scorpio, you are not confused. You are hesitating. and that's okay. But you don't live there anymore. So I want you to imagine this. A door standing in front of you, faintly glowing, invisible to everyone else. This door doesn't open with force. It opens with readiness. On the other side is not a fantasy life with no problems. On the other side is a life with more truth, more clarity, more protection, more aligned opportunity. A life where you don't have to betray yourself to keep peace with people who never offered you peace. A life where your intuition is honored, not mocked. A life where the love you give is returned with respect. And listen, if you've been praying, if you've been manifesting, if you've been pulling cards, if you've been asking the universe for a sign, you don't get to ask for a lighthouse and then complain that it's bright. The repetition is the answer. The repetition is the mercy. It's the universe saying, I'm not letting you miss it. Now, as we move toward December 21st, expect one of two things to happen first. Either a truth will be revealed or a distraction will be offered. The distraction is always loud. It tries to pull you into drama, into proving, into emotional battles that steal your energy. The truth is quieter. It's a calm realization. It's a sentence you suddenly see clearly. It's the moment you realize you don't need closure from people who never had the courage to be honest. Choose the quiet truth over the loud distraction. That is your power move. And Scorpio, because I care about your spirit staying grounded, let me weave this gently into the fabric of the message, like a soft scarf around your shoulders. Treat this as a mirror, not a mandate. A story of potential timing, a symbolic map for the soul, not a contract that traps you. Take what resonates and strengthens you, leave what doesn't. The universe speaks in patterns, but you still have free will, and your life still deserves practical wisdom alongside spiritual language. If at any point your intuition tells you to seek real-world support, wise counsel, or a grounded conversation with someone you trust, honor that too. Because true spirituality never asks you to abandon your discernment. It only asks you to refine it. Now we seal this. Scorpio, breathe slowly and feel the space around you. Imagine a calm, protective light, not blinding, not dramatic, just steady, like a lantern in a storm. Whisper this: I release what drains me. I protect what's sacred. I welcome what is aligned. And then live like you meant it. Not with panic, with quiet confidence, with the kind of faith that doesn't need to shout to be real. Because December 21 is not here to save you. It's here to activate what you already are, a transformer, an alchemist. The sign that can turn pain into purpose, endings into power, and silence into strength. The blessing that arrives fast is not just the event, it's the version of you that finally stops ignoring what you already know. So when the signs repeat again, and they will, don't roll your eyes. Don't doubt yourself. Don't say, I'm probably imagining it. Scorpio, you are not imagining the pattern. You are being invited to notice, to align, to step into a higher timeline where your heart is guarded, your mind is clear, and your destiny is not delayed by old fear wearing a new outfit. If this message touched you, anchor it. Comment a simple phrase, I notice the signs, or I'm ready. Not for the algorithm, though yes, it helps, but as a small physical act that tells your nervous system, I'm choosing clarity. And if you know another Scorpio who has been carrying silent pressure, share this with them. Some people don't need more information. They need confirmation that they're not crazy for feeling the shift. December 21st sets a powerful blessing in motion. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you finally listened. And Scorpio, the universe loves a soul who listens.